We're here today with Carol Longacre with Service Nation. Carol is an amazing woman, mother, a wife, a vertical market manager for Service Nation, the former president of the Dallas Builders Association, and a very successful remodeling contractor. Good morning.
Good morning.
How
Wow,
are
that
you?
makes me feel really good. Thanks for that introduction there, Alex.
It's easy when I have people that are smarter than me sitting next to me. You're an amazing person.
Thanks.
Let's talk a little bit about your history in building and kind of what got you to this point.
How far back do you want me to start?
Well, I mean, there was electricity, wasn't
Yeah, there
there?
was. So I met my high school sweetheart in 1986.
Okay.
We got married in 1990. I didn't realize I was going to be a contractor, but my husband is a very gifted craftsman. And so remodeling became part of our business, and I wanted to jump all in. So I joined the Dallas Builders Association and started getting education right away because I like to know what I'm talking about. I look stupid enough by myself without being educated, so I need to make sure I educate myself. And so Dan and I ran the business together about 25 years. And then our son decided he wanted to join the family business, and you'll hear us joke about it, kind of a joke.
He fired you.
That was one Longacre too many at Longacre Construction. So I did a short stint as an outside sales rep for one of the appliance companies, and that was just not my cup of tea. I'm not a very good salesperson. I'm like, hey, I'm here if you want to buy a refrigerator. Otherwise, you want to go have a cocktail? So that would.
If you don't like it, call the other guy.
Yeah, right. Like, so that really paid the bills. So, and I was offered a very amazing opportunity where I'm at now. The founder, I'm at Service Nation, and Service Nation is a best practice company for HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and they recently
They
launched.
sort of train the trades in how to do business.
Yeah,
that's
best
sort of
practices,
that
like
was their start.
how to read their financials and how to market and how to wrap their trucks so you don't have just a white van pulling up to your house and making people nervous.
The trucks I always make fun of.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The ones that are not quite advertising. Your truck is a rolling billboard. You'll probably get more to that.
I'm about to get slapped by Carol
Nah.
because all of this time I've spent making fun of the guys with the wrapped trucks. Okay, continue.
It's all right. We'll have to agree to disagree on that. So yeah, Service Nation's been around for about 30 years. They started with HVAC contractors. My president, Matt Michelle, and I are embroidery together, and he had this great idea to launch the remodeling vertical. So I've spent the last couple of years getting name recognition.
You and I talked a while, right when you started that, actually. So what Service Nation does is Service Nation provides a kind of business training, or that was their kind of, that's their base, what they do. And they provide service training for, it started out as the trades, really, plumbing, electrical, HVAC. And it's like they'll provide you a contract. It's an organization. Is it a nonprofit?
No.
No, it's a for-profit. Okay. And so they will they're teaching the business owners how to write a contract, providing them with sort of a base contract that says this is something you can use. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
This is how to read a spreadsheet. This is how to create a spreadsheet. This is how you know you're making money or when you're not making money, and why you're not making money, what you need to do to fix it. It turns a guy that might have been, a guy or a gal, that might have been just a good tradesperson, a skilled crafts person, and that once it has a desire to go into business, to the business person, because as you and I know very well, a lot of times skilled tradespeople don't make very good business people. But the very nature of being a creative person is your kind of mental independence that you have. And it's a lot of times skilled people have a hard time working for people.
Yes.
I know I do. In fact, I can't tell you how many times I fired myself.
There might be a little ADD in our industry too. I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone's ever noticed that or not, but
It could, yeah.
there could be a one or two contractors that are a little ADD.
A little hyper.
Yeah.
And so the reason I asked Carol to come on today, I wanted to talk about why it's important for you as a homeowner to investigate and be aware of people that have gone through this type of education versus the person that maybe hadn't gotten there yet. And I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that the person that you're considering to hire to do work on your house, whether it's a in this case, a remodeling contractor, may not have that training. And when you get in the middle of a project and you've put thousands and thousands of dollars in there, you don't want to end up having a massive problem that you have to start over. Now, Carol, you and I know, because we've been in this business a long time, how many times have we had to go in and clean up the mess that somebody started, and for whatever reason, that first guy's not there anymore.
Yep, he's gone or she's gone. A lot, and unfortunately, fortunately for the homeowner as well. We can't do it cheaper. I mean, it's going to cost us more to clean up a mess of someone who didn't take the
twice
time.
as much.
Yeah,
You
take
have
the
to
time to
start over.
educate themselves and do the job properly the first time.
Yeah.
I get those calls a lot. Our text messages like, "Hey, look what happened to my friend," and I'm sympathetic, but there's no recourse for that.
Well, and so what I'm trying to do today is sort of educate you as the homeowner and make you aware of your options here and bring this information to you so that when you're what I see. And I might, like you say, a little ADD this morning, maybe a little too much coffee, because I'm kind of like all over the place when I get to this subject matter.
Because there's so much here. There's so much to unpack with this subject matter.
Absolutely. When we're going through a growth period like we are right now in our industry, and like everybody's slammed in North Texas. I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but everybody in North Texas is slammed.
I've been on some calls with the National Association of Home Builders and other remodelers throughout the country, and they're all very busy.
And
slammed.
so you get, as a homeowner, you get a little desperate. You start, you're calling, you're looking around. Maybe you've had a couple of people come over. I don't want that person coming back in my house.
Yeah.
Or they're telling you it's going to be 6 months or whatever.
And especially if you've had, we're still cleaning up Snowvid issues. Like, there was floods and damage that happened during Snowvid, and we're still cleaning those up.
Yeah.
Still working with insurance companies and such.
Right. And so it's tempting, particularly when you're dealing with insurance money, it's tempting. We know it's tempting to take the person that comes in and says, "Don't you worry about a thing. I'll just work with that insurance money, and then we'll screw the insurance company and get more money."
I'll cover your deductible.
Right. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. I'm sure there's some instances where maybe they can help out, but and if you'll look at last week's show, we had this discussion with a roofing company. It's very rare that you are going to make any money as the homeowner. So just don't even address that illusion. It's not happening, right?
Yeah, if it happens, consider it a bonus, I would say, but I haven't seen it happen.
I've never seen it happen. There's never any leftover money. Okay.
But let's clarify that contractors don't hear your budget and want to go a good contractor won't go, "Oh, I'm going to take all of that." That. I think that's also a misconception in our industry when people
So
say
let's
that.
talk about the point of all of this is you want to hire a contractor that has taken the time, is interested enough in his business, his or her business, and the industry to get educated. They're going to be more honest.
Yeah.
I mean, just by virtue of that, they're interested in a long-term success of their business, they're not going to screw people normally. Right?
That's their best marketing is
Right.
you. Like, so
Right.
if they screw you, then you're not going to refer them. And so
Right.
referrals, as much as we've been talking all morning about social media and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of marketing, word of mouth is still really important to us. I mean, I live in the same town that I went to high school in. I sure as heck don't want to hear around town that my company, mistreated someone.
Right, right. So your reputation. So talk to us about Service Nation and first of all, what is a vertical market
Manager.
manager? I mean, does that mean you just talk to people that are standing
Only
up?
standing up people. So I will never go into the medical field at all. No, no vertical. So each of for under Service Nation, like we said, we have HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and remodeling. So each of those verticals, well, only 3 of them. The HVAC has their own manager. So Jim is in charge of all things HVAC.
I see.
We are making sure that our education is updated, that the downloads in our download center is updated, that the classes that we're offering are good, that
What does the vertical refer to? What does that mean?
I think that's
Like that sounds like a really
so everything is
sexy
under
kind of
is
title.
anything
Yeah.
no, everything under remodeling is my vertical. So and I don't know why it's titled that. I'd have to do some research. I'm sure there's a marketing reason for that that I have not researched. But each one of us, we also have a smart home manager. So we have a smart home manager, a plumbing manager. I'm the remodeling manager, and then we have a HVAC manager. So I guess
So
that's where that title
you're
comes from.
growing.
We are growing.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're a pretty big company. I mean,
How,
we have
how many?
4,800 members.
4,800. Wow, and that's been steady because I think the last time we talked a couple of years ago, when you first got into this, I think you're around 4,500, 40. And considering what we've been through, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, we
hanging along.
didn't. Well, the home service industry did well during all of this, since we're all home. But so we did grow some, and which is very fortunate in this.
How is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just sort of about the industry in general or your observations of it. And then I want to have a real discussion about why it's smarter for a homeowner to hire somebody that's got some training in business. First of all, let's talk about the health or your observations about the health of the remodeling industry right now.
I think it's strong. I think the remodeling industry is very strong. And I think this will probably lead into your education, but I think an educated contractor who, rising waters raise all ships. So right now, like, everyone's probably doing really well. But through experience, through, being the president of the Dallas Builder Association in 2010, I know, like, I'm looking down the road, like, this isn't going to last forever.
It's
I've been
a bubble.
through,
Yeah.
I'm old enough now that I've been through that. And so what's next, and what do I need to plan, and how do I educate my team for what's going to be next? So I think overall, I think the remodeling industry is great. I don't know when that bubble's
For
coming.
now-
I've read
for
lots
now,
of, I've read
yeah.
lots of economists, and even the economists have different opinions on when the bubble will bust or what it's going to look like. And I think, with some of the things that are happening right now, people are unsure.
Yeah. Well, what we're saying is that what goes up must come down.
Yeah.
And so Carol and I both of us have been through recessions. And I always talk about people from the '08 and that era.
Yeah.
And how I knew people, and you knew the same people, that had been in business for 10 years, but had never had a hard day in business. They had never experienced anything, and they're all just running around buying new cars and a lake house and a ski boat and whatever, because they were just like, woohoo, man,
Yeah, this
this
is
is
gonna last
easy.
forever.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, pow, the bubble burst. And they're sitting there going, well, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for that?
How am I going to pay for those
How am I going to buy food?
spec homes or spec remodels, things that they speculate, kind of thing?
That was the real scary one. So this happens, and it'll happen again. And so having a educated, experienced contractor, when you've got thousands of dollars tied up into a project you're doing, it's pretty important.
It very much is very important. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand, people take that first draw and it makes people nervous. Well, there's a law on the books. You can't rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, when they take a draw, when my company takes a draw from you, we're ordering materials with that. We're planning ahead for your job on that. Your money goes into your job. And there are uneducated contractors who don't understand that. First, and they don't understand. I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but they don't know. They don't know how to read their numbers.
They don't know how to manage.
If you pull up your bank account and you have $10,000 there, they think they have $10,000. They're not thinking about the trade contractors that they need to pay or the materials that have already been delivered, that they maybe have a net 30 bill on. That's a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're a skilled craftsperson, like you're a really good plumber, or you're a really good remodeler, you do beautiful work. Like, that kitchen is gorgeous, but you still need to be able to read your numbers. You still need to know where your company is financially.
You have to be a business manager. I mean,
be able to hire a really good business manager that you can trust.
That's right. That's super important. And that's why you should be looking for somebody that, I've always been a firm believer, of course I've always been there myself, of people that are invested in the industry, invested in their particular industry. And your education as a business person is an investment into your industry.
Yeah, I was telling someone recently about this job, because they asked me like you did, like, how did you get there? How did you leave Longacre? I haven't really left Longacre. I'm still, part of it, but I do have this full-time position that keeps me out of the office
and out of trouble.
Keeps me out of family, lots more family discussions. But where was I going with that?
Well, we were
why I have this job.
Yeah.
I have this platform. I've spent decades, and I couldn't even tell you how much money of my own time and my own dollars to make this industry a better industry. I've taught classes. I go to meetings. I'm on the local, state, and national board of the National Association of Home Builders. I serve on the board of trustees for the Remodelers Council. I do that on my own because I know if I can educate other contractors, it's better for everybody around. It's better for my company because I can charge what I need to charge to carry the overhead that I need to legally cover, insurance and such, and make it better for the homeowners. Mm-hmm. If the homeowners have an educated contractor who costs a little bit more because they've invested in their company and in their community and in their industry.
But how much does it cost to clean up the mess an uneducated person leaves behind? And it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Not just the financial, the mental, and,
Well, a remodel, of course, is a very personal thing. I've always, the hardest part for me in remodeling is the personal part, because I'm very passionate about the business, but then I get kind of passionate about my clients. I love my clients and I want to be successful for them. And that is the hardest part of the whole thing. Now, I have friends that are people I know in business, and they have a pure business approach. It's all about the bottom line. And I go, God bless you. I don't know how you do it, because my clients, they're on me like we got married.
Oh, Dan gets so upset. We use Co-Construct for our communication. And, if he reads something on Co-Construct like, oh, there was some dust particles left in the bathroom, like he gets upset, and because it's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Like, our crews are trained to clean up after yourself.
Right.
This is not a job site. This is someone's home. That is our philosophy.
So let's talk about the process of when someone joins Service Nation. What is it that they're learning?
There's a lot of things they are learning.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Financials is first. I mean, you've got to know your financials. And I think there's a lot of people, you don't know what you don't know. Like, there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to read a balance sheet. So financials, marketing. We have a peer review group. We call it an advisory board. So they get on the call weekly with other remodeling companies, or whatever they join. So there are other remodeling companies. So you and I can have these kind of conversations on a weekly basis. Hey, what are we doing about, what are you doing about truck wraps? And why, Alex, should you wrap your truck? Those kind of conversations. And, lately, what are the safety precautions to having crews on the sites? What kind of precaution, hand washing and those kind of things. So there's a lot out there that you can learn.
What I learned when I got involved with the Builders Association many decades ago was that I was around other business people, and I learned so much, and not even know it. You don't even know it. I mean, you're doing things together, you're doing volunteer projects together, but all these little tidbits are getting kind of going in there, and you don't even really realize it.
You don't. You're learning just from osmosis. And I'm a huge advocate of education. I took all the classes. I probably, I don't have all the designations because I just didn't, but I've taken all the classes. But I was so against them going online because I learned so much sitting next to the person.
That's how you
than
learn.
I would be, I understand now online, but
plus
they were trying to do that prior to the Zoom
Plus, you
stuff.
get mentored, and that can only happen when you're there with each other. When you're sitting there having coffee, or you're in a meeting or whatever, and you're visiting. You're being mentored. I was by a couple of my competitors actually, and it ends up that you learn that you're competitors at one level, but you're supporting each other at another level. Now, why is this important to a homeowner?
Well, this is important to a homeowner because it brings educated contractors into your home. We are all learning to do what's right and deliver that. And so when those who don't invest in themselves, they're not intending ill will, but they get themselves caught. They don't understand that they don't have any money. They don't even know they don't have any money till it's all gone because they're getting draws and so it's very important to the contractor. They know how to build, they know how to pull permits, they know what the building code is, they know their guys, they know who their guys are, they know who they're sending into your home. Are they a registered sex offender? Like, they need to check all that out. Like, is there other, so that's why it's important to.
I remember a few years ago, a lot of years ago.
I know, isn't it funny how a few years is like, oh, that was yesterday.
I guess I should say a few decades ago. That's, anyway, I was complaining for years because they would make code changes locally to the local Dallas or whatever.
The municipality, like each municipality gets.
And
to
it
do
doesn't
that.
matter where you are in the country. This is what happens. So they make code changes. And I didn't find out about it until the inspector came out and failed me on something that the project before I did exactly the same way.
It probably was last month too. Right? There was like a little season there that changed.
And I was frustrated because I was going, why isn't somebody sending me this information so I know this? Well, once I got involved in the industry and I got involved in the Builders Association and other, I was around people, of course, then I was being educated day to day about that.
Mind blown.
Yeah, you're like, oh. And then I learned that I could actually go down there and complain to them in their meetings.
And they loved that. They like, oh, here comes Alex.
Here comes Alex. He's going to teach us something.
I remember the first, there was a trade show that Dan and I went to, like a remodeler show. It was in Detroit. It was like early 90s. And he and I were like, we could barely afford to go to Detroit. We had little babies and we just bought a new house. We're running a business, right? But we're going to go learn. And so we're like, let's divide and conquer. So we each went to the different classes and we met back in our hotel room and we're like, oh, I'm not going to say the words that we said then, but we're like, oh my goodness, we're doing everything wrong, but through the years, and through the education and being, members of places like Service Nation, you learn that and you take tidbits. You're like, okay, this is the one thing I need to start improve upon to make it better. Marketing now is changing so quickly. So that's one of the things we're always focusing on. Or who do we hire, or how do we do it, or what do we post, and which social media. But so I think that is another reason to have an educated contractor.
Well, and it as a homeowner, it protects you. That's the main thing. And so you're protecting your investment and your time, you're protecting your property. And hopefully you don't end up in a big mess. Like, we hear all the horror stories, and they're all true.
Let me clarify a couple things I think is a misconception in our state, because I read them on all the Facebook, city posts. General contractors do not have to be licensed in the state of Texas. We do not have to carry liability insurance, and we do not have to carry workman's comp.
Or bonding.
Or bonding, unless you're doing like a municipal thing. So you don't have to have any of those. So when people say we're licensed and bonded, they're not. I mean, they might be licensed in a city. Like in Dallas, we have to have a city license.
It's a business license.
It's
really.
not, it doesn't test my knowledge of
Right.
remodeling. It just tests my knowledge that can fog the mirror and write the check and have that license. So we at Longacre Construction has chosen, and most of the competitors, like if I refer you were talking about talking to competitors. John Todd with Elite Remodeling out of Frisco, they just got Remodel of the Year from the Dallas Builders Association. He's my go-to guy all the time. When I need something, I call John. And we go back and forth. We refer back and forth.
When John went into business, which I was there, John didn't know anything about remodeling.
Nope.
He was a business guy. I mean, he was an investor basically.
Yep, he had retired from.
And he's built a fabulous business, and he's worked hard at it. And the way he built his business is he joined the Dallas Builders Association. And I don't mean this is all he did, because we know it's just hard work. But John came to the meetings, he came to the classes, he came to all of these things you're talking about that you've done, and he became a really fine builder or remodeler, built a great business. And so this is what we're talking about. And yeah, it's like all the things people will contact me on Better Business Bureau and go, "Are you bonded?" The other guy I'm talking to is bonded. And I go, "No, he's not."
He's not. Unless he's working for the city of Dallas, he's not bonded.
Yeah. And so he may have done a sidewalk and had to get a bond for a sidewalk, and now he calls himself bonded, whatever. But residential remodeling or residential construction does not require that. And so they don't even have bonding for that. So anyway.
They don't. You're bondable. Like I'm bondable through my insurance agent, and if I need a bond, I can call them up. But it's only municipalities, if you're doing commercial work for them.
Well, I really, really, really appreciate you coming in.
Well, thanks for having me
and sharing with us, and I hope everybody watching learned something and kind of learn a direction to go when you're trying to figure out who you're going to hire, or if you're going to hire somebody. Some questions that you ought to ask them. Are you, or do you have any do you belong to an organization? Or do you have any sort of certifications? How long have you been doing this? These are all important questions.
Are you insured?
Are you insured? Yeah. Ask a few questions like that, and we'll do another show where we'll go over just the what ifs. In fact, our next show, if you hang on for our next video that's coming out, we're going to answer a question from an email that asks that question: what should I ask the contractors? I'm confused.